Hello friends, welcome back to my channel where I share my passion for baking and cake decorating with you. Today we are making African meat pies, individual meat pies with beef and vegetable filling. They are so delicious. So we are going to start by dicing our vegetables. We have 2 carrots, 2 onions and 2 potatoes. So there are different varieties of this pie. We have Nigerian, Cameroonian, Ghana. So we make them some versions you don't add the potatoes, but I know the Nigerian meat pie has potatoes in it. So I'm cutting up the carrots, potatoes, and I'll set those aside, and then I'm going to dice my onions. Okay, all the vegetables are ready. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in my pan and saute the onions until they are translucent. And then we're going to put in 1 kilogram of beef, ground beef, and we're just going to break that up with our wooden spoon so it's not in chunks, and we'll let it cook. Now we'll add our seasoning. I'm going to add the list of the seasonings in the description box below. So we have onion, thyme, parsley, black pepper, ginger, garlic, and seasoning cube or powder. So I've added my vegetables, and then I'll just cover that and let it cook. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and 2 cups of water. The flour is going to help bind everything together and make the filling nice and thick and all together. I'll cover that to simmer for about 5 minutes and stir again, and it looks ready. So our filling is ready. We're going to go ahead and make the dough. So in our bowl we have our flour. I'm adding some sugar, baking powder, and salt. I'm going to write the quantities in the description box, please. Now we're adding some butter. You can either use butter or margarine, and then we'll just mix that up with our hand. Just rub it in until you have the mixture looks like fine bread crumbs. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our eggs, 2 eggs. And I'm just using my hand to mix everything together until it's all combined. And then we're going ahead to add some cold water. Add really cold water because it's pie dough, so you want it really flaky. So the butter is cold, the water is cold. That will help the pie to be nice and flaky. Just mixing that up with my hand, and after that I'm going to knead it. I'm going to write all the quantities of the ingredients in the description box. So I'm going ahead and kneading that with my hands on the counter. And this dough, we don't need to knead it for too long because we want it to be nice and flaky. So that's it for the kneading. I'm going to wrap it in plastic wrap. Make sure it's well covered so no air touches it, so it doesn't dry out. And I'm going to put that in the fridge for a few minutes, about 30 minutes. Now it has come out of the fridge and it's time to roll and cut. I'm just doing a little bit of kneading, and then I'll roll it out. You need a rolling pin, you need a bowl or any round, any circle thing that you can use to cut circles. You need a knife to cut, we need a fork to seal the edges and also poke holes on the pies to help them vent when they're in the oven. So I'll just roll the dough out really thinly. Sometimes the pies are thick, but I don't like them too thick because it's a really heavy dish. So I like them thin so that the filling, I eat mostly the filling. So I'll just keep rolling it until it's nice and thin. Then we'll start cutting. Yeah, you see how nice and thin it is. So now I'll use my bowl to mark out the circle and then just cut it with a knife. You can use a bigger circle if you like, but I like my sizes. I like mine this size, not too big, not too small. So after cutting the circles, we'll wrap the excess in plastic wrap and put it aside for later. And now we'll start putting the filling on. Then you use your fingers to seal it, and after that we'll still use the fork to seal it well, to make sure it's well sealed so it doesn't open up when it's baking. After that we'll poke 3 holes on the top so that the steam will escape when it's baking, and it also gives it a nice design. So I'm lining my baking sheet with parchment paper, and I'm just putting the pies on it. The parchment paper helps it not to stick to the pan, and also helps with cleaning, like it makes it easier to clean your pans. So I'll just continue with the process. Seal with your fingers, or thumb and fingers, and then seal again with the fork to make sure it's well sealed. And then poke the holes on the top. So continue the same process with all the remaining dough and filling. Sometimes the filling is trying to stick out, so I just pushed it in with my fork. These pies are really good for lunches, like to pack for kids to take to school, or even for yourself for lunch at work. They're really handy, and they're filled with beef and vegetables, so they're relatively healthy apart from the dough. Okay, so sometimes the pies might open up a little bit in the oven while they're baking, so sometimes I use water to seal the edges. I just wet the edges with a little bit of water on a brush before I seal it. That really ensures that it's well sealed and it doesn't open up in the oven or gape. So I'm done with the first batch. Now we'll roll the rest of the dough and continue with the same process. So now I'm just putting the filling in all of them. You can do it one at a time, but sometimes you can just put the filling in all of them, brush the edges so that when you start sealing, you just seal all. Just keep sealing. Yeah, so that's basically it. That's the process of making individual meat pies. We can call them meat patties. It's common in West Africa, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana. So the last step before we put it in the oven, we brush the pies with egg, with a beaten egg. So I beat 1 egg, and I'm just using a brush to kind of brush, or we call it an egg wash. We do an egg wash on them. That will help the pies to be nice and brown, to have a nice golden color when they bake. So that tray is done. I'm doing the rest of the dough now. So the leftovers that you get from after cutting them, you just keep rolling them again and filling them. Yeah, so that's just the process. So I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to put in the pies to bake. And now they are all done. They baked for about 30 minutes for each tray, and they're all nice and golden brown now. So that's how you make meat pie. So as I was talking about some opening up in the oven, you see that one, it has a little gape. So I'm sure that's one of the ones that I didn't seal with water. Yeah, the water really helps them seal much better. So our pies are all done, they're nice and golden brown. So now it's time for the taste test. We'll break one and see how it looks on the inside. We have this nice brown flaky pie with nice beef and vegetable filling. So that's how it looks on the inside, and it's so delicious. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, share, subscribe, and stick around for more videos coming up soon. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.